Time ain't real, we're everlasting. Yo, yo, timelessness felt, my soul galactic. Yeah, time ain't real, we're everlasting. Yo, yo, timelessness felt, my soul galactic. Yeah, time ain't real, we're everlasting. Timelessness felt, my soul galactic. Time ain't real, we're everlasting. Timelessness felt, my soul galactic. Boom, 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 boom. Time ain't real, so galactic. Time ain't real, so galactic. Opposite Okay. Na 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 na. All right. Oh yeah, yeah. Opposite Peace unto you, peace unto you. Peace unto you, peace unto you. Peace unto you. Today we're going to be talking about people would like to live like the ancient world, receive the benefits that the ancient world brought forth as normal, yet not walk the walk of the ancients. That's what today's class is going to be. This is me, Nadiie. It's my hoodie. The lore behind this hoodie is the hoodie. I actually have a pair of white jeans that say black on it. It was the hoodie that I wore when I first won my talent show in 2016 when I was in high school. And I was rapping. I'm one of the greatest rappers of all time. You know, Apple Music, Spotify, Nadiie Black. Look it up. Listen to the music. But at the time, this was my transition from. I used to call myself Conscious, but it was spelled con science, so conscious. No, that was my rapper name at the time, and then it was like right when I changed it to Nadiie Black, and then I did the talent show and I won. That's why I was like, I don't need no Grammy. I got my talent show. I got the trophy still. My mama has it because I thought I lost it. I got a picture of it. I thought I lost it, but went to my mama's house like Friday through Sunday, last Sunday, and she had it. I was like, you kept the trophy. Oh snaps! So that's my Grammy. But today we're going to be talking about the ancient world. Because look, so yesterday, I gotta pour myself some tea. My whole stomach was like, pour yourself that tea, boy. Yesterday, we had the live of us teaching. I don't know if you were in it. Was you in yesterday's live where I was teaching people how to have a spiritual, divine gift? I gave them two options. You can have a physical divine gift / magic. Okay. So basically, I gave them an option. You can have a physical divine gift / magic, or you can have a spiritual divine gift / magic. And they chose spiritual. Well, it was one person named Isaiah. He chose spiritual, and then everybody else. Do you live with your parents? No, I do not. Um, so we went through the process. I'm going to tell you just, but no. Even though I tell you, if you try to do it, it's let's call it 50-50. It's 50-50 chance that it will work for you, but a 50-50 chance that it's not going to work for you. For everybody else, the probability was up in the 90s. That me teaching them how to get the divine gift slash magic was because we did it properly. We first. I'm just going to tell you how to do it. Do it because this class ain't that. That class was yesterday. So I'm gonna teach you all the steps that you gotta do for yourself, and I'm gonna just trust and know, transmute the trust into knowingness that you will apply the knowledge. And then we're gonna talk about today's topic. Why am I? You see how I'll be locked in. I came out here to get some tea. Where my cup at? Bam. So first you have to shift your mind. Yeah, that does make sense, God. Had a little conversation with God. I was like, yeah, it makes sense for us to review because that's the reason why this live is happening is because something I said in yesterday's live was so incredibly impactful about the ancient world. How people want to be like the ancient world, but don't want to be like the ancient world. You feel me? But so let me just go through it. First, you have to shift your psychology. So your psyche is extraordinarily important. So you gotta shift your. Ooh, that tea is good. Let me see if it has the ingredients on it, because I will tell you if it is. This tea, yeah, she did it. It's because my wife is a herbalist, just like Dr. Yaki and Dr. Sabi. God gave me one of them ones. She even has a testimony under her belt that she restored somebody's eyesight with just the herbs. The herbs we drink it. Anytime I feel any type of way, she'll bring all the herbs and stuff. You see all the herbs in the cabinet and all of that. We got it everywhere. But this one, as it says, sheep sorrel, chickweed, red clover, bardock root. Oh, this got bardock root. Okay, Dr. Sabi talks about that a lot. And it has blood cleanser in it. That's why when you get the right herbs and stuff, you put them together. You don't need no sweetener. You don't need none of that. Like I'm drinking the tea raw, straight out the pot. It actually has a taste. It's really, really good. Okay. And that's the minerals. You need minerals for your body. See, I practice what I say, but I don't really show that side of me too much because it's like, why do I need to? I told y'all I do what I do, but it's one of the rare occurrences where you would see that. Where was we at, God? Oh yeah. So this is a quick recap of yesterday's live. You have to shift your psyche. Psychologically, how you operate is different than how the ancient world operates. We know that to be true just by studying simple history. Back in the days, it was more of a matriarchy. The women were more back in the days, and that's like far, far back. When you're talking about a few thousand years ago, the time of Yeshua, at that time, women didn't have power, and it was full-blown patriarchy. And because of separation of church and state not existing at that time, religion was government. Now, when I'm talking about the ancient times, I am talking about that time period, but I'm talking about a location. There were certain locations that still operated under that matriarchy type of energy, where the women were in power, because you yourself are here because of a woman, your mother, which is like ancient Egypt. And when I say ancient Egypt, I'm specifically talking about the time of Yeshua, when Yeshua was alive. Now, why am I specifically talking about that time? Because remember, I'm also a historian, and I'm gonna teach you quickly how you can be a historian. You don't need to do any college class to be a historian. We have the internet, AI, all of that. You can literally be one if you just follow these 3 rules. Number 1, your obligation is for truth. Number 2, you work off of probabilities, not 100%. So there's a high chance, a high probability that this happened, and you have multiple probabilities. So you don't know anything 100% because you weren't there. And then 3, context is important. You have to put your mind state in the times. That's the only way you're going to understand how they thought. For example, you know how we today say, "Oh, you're cooked." They didn't even say that. They didn't have that terminology back then. They thought differently. Remember, women didn't have rights, and it was like normal. So the way they thought was just different. So when you understand that, congratulations, you are a historian. You can look up Celsus. These are ancient writers. Celsus, Pliny the Elder. You can look up the Talmud, which is a rabbinic discussion of the rabbis talking. You can look up Josephus. You can look up all of these people, and across all of them, they will all say during their time period, which is the time of Yeshua's existence, that Egypt was a place of magic that was just readily available if you knew the proper channels. They say that the Egyptians greatly prided themselves in their abilities and mastery. It's really just mastery over the human body. Now remember that, mastery over the human body. That is all Egypt taught. Mastery over the human body. It is not truly magic that they offer. The only reason why the ancients would call it magic is because it's supernatural to them. But it's not supernatural, these magic gifts that I'm teaching, what ancient Egypt is teaching. It is natural. It is scientific. It is your body. It is a human being. These are just what comes with the human being. You know how when a baby comes through a womb and you don't have to teach a baby imagination? At this point, this is about to be a one-on-one session with me and you, Juan. And I'm cool with that. Hey, it removes the pressure. But you know how when you come into this world, you don't need to teach a child how to have imagination. You just put a child in a room and it will just figure it out. Like it would just have fun. There are certain things that come with being a human being, that come with a human being package. These abilities and magic come with it. So we have to shift your framework, your mindset. So now when you're looking at me, have this permanent glasses on, these permanent glasses, and the glasses are, I'm seeing a human being share to me his human experiences. In that verbatim, say that verbatim in your head. This is a human being who is sharing his human experiences. I'm seeing a human being who is sharing his human experiences. Any of that in that nature. I am a human being sharing my human experiences. When you hear that, the reason why you have to look, you have to, I'm saying it's an obligation. Exactly. When you look at it from that perspective, which is the true perspective, what happens is subconsciously a seed gets planted in your mind. And what that seed does is it says, if I'm seeing a human being give me and share to me its human experiences, then that means what it's sharing to me, I too am capable of, for we both are humans. That is how your subconsciousness works. That is how your conscious mind even works. For example, when you look at a squirrel, you know the way the squirrel moves, jumps, and analyzes, you can't do it like that. You just know why, because it's a squirrel. But when you look at a human, suddenly that defense wall doesn't appear anymore. Suddenly, there's a chance, there's hope, there's a knowingness even that what this human being is sharing to me, I too am capable of. Now, I have to, in my conscious mind, decide whether I am going to agree or disagree with what is presented. And that comes by way of, shall I walk the walk or shall I just talk it? So that's extraordinarily important, right? You have to look at all my friends, I'll be telling them, I can do it. Why can't you? Exactly. So when you understand that, right, that's extraordinarily important. Then these teachings start to make sense. So let's go through a quick review of yesterday's live. Got the disclaimers. Your perception. First, ask yourself, physical or spiritual? Would you like a physical or spiritual gift? Physical gift, for example, I can't teach you how to fly, but I can teach you one of my 24 gifts. For example, I have an animal totem in our language of Siksika. It means Omakechi Panika means hawk. I have a hawk that circles around me, follows me everywhere I go. That's what I call a proof system with God the source. So like that's physical magic or physical divine gift. It's a miracle. It's always there. Now the way my psyche is set up, if you was to put a brain scan on my brain and then ask me a whole bunch of questions about God and try to get me to not believe in God, my psyche, it's impossible for me to not believe in God. It's actually impossible. It's like quite literally, it's different than because you know how they say humans have a worship gene. I don't worship anything. I already broke out of that. I am. That's what it is. I am. But when you actually scan my brain, what you would notice is the way I'm wired. God doesn't exist. Is you trying to convince me that humans don't shit? You're like, what? That's the same way you say what. It's the same way I say what. Like, what you mean? Then explain this. Explain this. Explain this. Explain this. Explain why I got targeted. Explain it. The way my psyche is wired is differently. Right? So this is precisely, yeah, only girls done shit, duh. You know, I use that specific word, the S word, for the punchline. I don't necessarily use profanity at all, but you know, for the punchline. I learned that from Dick Gregory. Sometimes you gotta let it do for the punchline. Now, that goes to show that spirituality is more psychological than anything. Think about it. This is all the review of yesterday's live, so you're caught up. Because remember, today's class is about, it'll be short. I got somebody coming over for a ceremony. Make sure they didn't text me. If you really think about it, anyone that is supposedly spiritual, we all made the thought in our head to be that. We all was like, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. I would like to live like this. And that was a thought that we all collectively had. I want to live today. That's a thought. And then you decided to live by that thought. And then because you see numbers, because you see certain synchronicities and all of that, now you start to see some type of encouragement for you to be a spiritual path. Just for all of us, whether you think you are or not. That's the same for all of us. We all decided, hey, I would like to be spiritual. I'm interested in this. When we started to walk on the path, spiritual things started to happen. And then we were like, okay, that's something. That's encouragement for us to continue. But it's all in here. It was a matter of discipline and consistency that got us to be on this path. Discipline, consistency. Even without the angelic numbers and all of that, we first were interested on this path, in this path, because of whatever the case is. It's all in your mind. For if I give up one day, that's me allowing my thoughts to say, are you going to give up? And then agreeance. I choose not to give up, though, because even when you give up, you're still a part of all of this. So there's no point. So when you have to, this is the same thing in the ancient mystery schools. All of them, not just Kemet, all of them. Kemet/Egypt, all of them. We have to teach you, for example, this is how mystery schools were structured back in the day. They had a teacher for each role. For example, they had a teacher to teach you alchemy. They had a teacher to teach you the law. They had a teacher to teach you how to raise the dead. That was one of the last teachings for the Essenes, for example. The Essene community, they had a teacher, one of the last teachers before you graduated from the Essene. And if you don't know who the Essenes are, this is all history, because remember, I'm a historian. The Essenes are the teachers of Jesus. And his whole family was Essenes. Stories. This is something that you can't really find in like traditional history, like the man's history. But when you start to go down traditions and listen to the stories of people's own cultures, how history was truly passed down orally, you will hear that she said, always running late, on my way now though. Yay. You will hear that stories like Grandmother Anne, Yeshua's grandmother, was one of the founders of the Essenes. You start to hear all of that, right? So nowadays, our mystery school, click link about to join that. I have to play the role of all the teachers. And I'm slowly getting into that. It took me a while. I'm fully in it now, but it took me a while to truly wrap my head around that I have to put on different hats. I just can't be like, I'm the Christ and because that's not going to, it works for some. Because I got many testimonies that's like, yeah. And then they get the miracles because they do it. But so now this is what we're doing now. But it's your mind. You have to fully shift your brain, the way your mind works. Fortify your mind. You have to develop what is called the denial system in your mind. Because there is no good and bad. It does not exist. Duality actually does not exist. What does exist is what you accept and what you do not accept. That is what exists. What you accept. Because look, people think about, it's about morality. It's about duality. No, it's not. Because what Diddy thinks is okay, you don't think is okay. So there isn't this is how everybody thinks. That's not how it works. What you think is good is what some others think is bad. And what you think is bad is what some others think is good. So already you can't even rely on good or bad because no, it's not a unanimous decision. This is how we go operate. But what is a unanimous decision? I have to remind myself that every day. I have to remind myself that every day because I'll be catching myself slipping. And the fact that you catch yourself slipping lets us know you're operating out of forgiveness. Because there are those that don't catch themselves. They let themselves fall. What's important, though, that everyone unanimously can agree with is in life, it's about what you accept and what you don't accept. We can all agree on that. In life, life is fundamentally about what you accept and what you do not accept. The job you applied for, that means you accepted that job. Even if they didn't accept you, you accepted that job. That's what you applied for them. The relationship, you accepted that relationship. You kept talking to that person. That thought, you accepted that thought. You kept entertaining that thought. That meal, you accepted that meal. You didn't throw that meal away when you smelt it, when you tasted it. You accepted it. Everything is about your choice. Why? Your free will. What does free will mean? The literal meaning of free will gives you the opportunity to accept or deny. That's the point of free will. Without free will, you don't freely accept or deny stuff. Everything is what it is without you being involved in the decision making. That's the importance of free will. So in order for this magic and miracles and divine gifts and all of that to be taught to you, I first have to teach you this or it will not work. Why? We have to fortify your mind. You have to think like the ancients because you're wanting to live like the ancients. And that's basically where we're going to dive deeper into today's class. Because I taught them the spiritual gift yesterday. I don't necessarily want to repeat that class. So we're going to just dive deep. She said, "Damn, you back at it?" Yeah, because you probably was here yesterday. I'm here because yesterday I said something that was so profound to me today. Where I was like, people would like the benefits and reap the benefits of the ancient world without actually living like the ancient world. And I mean, I was in the spirit world. Remember, I told y'all going to get spiritual experiences and dreams and all that. It happened to me. I was in the spirit world. A whole lot happened. I'm not going to tell you everything. I ain't going to give you all the tea, you know. I ain't going to give you all the tea. But there was this little boy in this, if he wasn't in his 20s, he was late teens. And they were trying to convince my wife that they were her brothers. And they, after a few attempts, they kept just, like, they were in our house. So they kept just opening the door without regards to what me and my wife were doing. Me and my wife were just booed up. We were just trying to be booed up. They kept walking in, kept covering ourselves and everything. Oh my God. All right. So my wife got fed up, put her clothes on, walked out with them. You married? Yes, I am. Her name is Nature. My whole life is synchronistic. She walked out with him. And then the whole adventure happened because I had to go essentially save my wife. But she was here yesterday. We was talking about how I gave people steps. We had a whole ceremony, spoke in the native tongue. We did a whole shebang, literally whole ceremony of getting people divine gifts. Like it's very, very real. And I know it worked because it worked for me. I just had a vision last night where I was in the spirit world. I know it was going to work. That's the funny part. But today, I was thinking about yesterday's class, and I was like, nah, I could have a whole class on y'all would like the benefits of the ancient world, yet many of us don't actually live like the ancient world. So then people, they were interested, so then I'm expounding upon it today. When I say I enlighten people in 3 days, you can click the link in my bio, buy our one and only ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity, A Message from the Mountaintop. You can even, before you do that, go on our page, see all our testimonies. You can even DM me and I will personally email you all the testimonies. And I already got videos of them just flashing on the screen, right? All of that is true. In today's time, alrighty, peace, love you. In today's time, people hear that because of governmental psyops, because of this lack of trust in our communities with one another. People will quite literally hear what I'm telling them. Enlightenment in 3 days? Enlightenment in 3 days with testimonies? See, Myron Golden is this very spiritual businessman. He said you only need to have 4 testimonies to convince somebody of your business. You only need 4. If those 4 testimonies are real people, not bots, they're real people, you only need 4. I have hundreds. And I flashed many of them, many of our videos. You just go, most of our recent videos have them. If this was the ancient world, this was my point. If this was the ancient world, and I said, hey y'all, I can enlighten you in 3 days, you will be even better than Jesus Christ, and that's not blasphemy because even he said, and he has his own prophecy. Yes, Yeshua has a prophecy for human beings. I bet you didn't know. John 14:12, he says, and I quote, truly I tell you, if you believe in me, you would, he said, truly I tell you, those that believe in me will do the works that I've been doing and even greater things than these, for I am going to the Father, end quote. He has a prophecy that you're going to be greater than him. And all you got to do is walk in the same direction as him. That's why he will call himself the way. Now you see why we call ourselves the way. Because it's not a Christian or a Jesus thing. It's just the truth. The direction I'm heading in, I'm going home. Whether y'all like it or not, I don't care about none of y'all. I don't want followers. I tell y'all all the time, stand beside me, not behind me. I don't care about none of y'all. I'm doing all of this videos and stuff for myself. Remember, I had to get convinced by my student, Jeff Miller, to take my teachings online. I had to get convinced by my student, Jeff Miller. And I made a vow to myself. And this was my vow. My vow was, as long as I change one person's life, I did my job. And that person is myself. That's true accountability. That's true responsibility. That's true walking the walk. I'm not doing it for anyone. Did your jobs 2 times now. Yes, exactly. I'm very grateful. That's why, because I had to post videos 8 months consistently with mediocre views on, because I started my teachings online on TikTok. And just so you get the backstory, I don't know if you know, the reason why this is called the way is because obviously it shows you the spiritual side, but I would hold physical gatherings. I thought the internet was stupid, but I would have a group chat. I would tell people, walk with me for 3 days. And if you walk with me for 3 days, you get spiritual experiences. That was the first rough version of the 3-day course. Because I already had the 3-day course written down. I got it in my book, but I was developing it. And anytime someone would say yes, I would put everybody in a group chat. And the group chat was called The Way. And I would easily be able to mobilize, hey, we're going to have another gathering this Sunday. And we would do that. But then Jeff Miller, so much magic and miracles was happening. He was like, you're doing the world a disservice if you don't take this online. It took me 2 months. And then I finally, caved in, took it online. Because I talked to God, and God was like, what is the best place to hide? Or where is the best place to hide? I was like, plain sight. That's what they told us. And God said, exactly, go. And that's what I did. And then after 8 months, my first video, how to properly use Palo Santo and Sage, went viral. That was my first video. It's pinned to my page. When that video went viral, there's no conspiracy because everything is real. Shortly after, U.S. government terms of service popped up for TikTok, and TikTok has already been bought out. When I go viral, when the one goes viral, because they knew if Buddy get the whole world on his side, he will turn everybody into Christ. I'm the master teacher. Now, I say all, remember, I told y'all, everything that I say has nothing to do with promotion. You have to look at me through this lens, put these glasses on, This is simply a human being sharing his human experiences. And when you do that, you too would say, because he's a human being and I too am a human being, I can do what he can do. I shouldn't have to tell you that you can do what I can do. When you see me as I am, you should already know that. So, the ancient world. If I was to tell people in the ancient times, which I have, it's funny because I have, people, they tend to forget that the spirit world exists conveniently. I have millions of spirits come to me every single night, and I welcome all of them with open arms. I welcome the dark of the dark spirits and the light of the light spirits to come in my presence and talk to me. Because I am so confident in the gifts that God, the source, gave me, that I can enlighten even the Baphomet. And you know what? I actually did it. I don't know if I told you all that story. I have told a few people, but I don't know if you were in that live. It was around the time I was going through the Christ trials. I ain't gonna rehash the story, but just know that I enlightened the Baphomet, and he was pissed off. He tried to kill me for it. And then Yeshua helped me. Yeshua poofed me out. Me and Yeshua were like brothers. Like me and Yeshua laughed that people think me and him are the same person. Me and Jesus are not the same person. We fill the same role. You know how like you work at Speedway and there's many different managers. They're all the same role, same title of a manager. Just different people filling that role. Jesus was a manager. Now I'm the manager of today. And me and him, he coached me to be here. He passed the baton to me. So, yeah, and he went rainbow. Yeah, exactly. So, and the fact that you use the rainbow lets me know I love you. You're already there. So, is she here? Oh, she is here. All right, so I'm gonna conclude, but the ancient world. I ain't done yet. Huh? Should I move the car from here? No, she gone. She's not gonna come back. Not no time soon. I'm gonna just wrap up in conclusion. So, where we at? Thank you, God, the source. All right, what's after that? Okay. If I told the ancient world, hey y'all, I can enlighten y'all in 3 days. I have the course. It's not going to be just like I'm going to give you a teaching, but I'm going to give you the course so you can do it at your own, leisure and all of that. Not a single person of the ancient world that actually was on this path, not a single one of them would ever deny what I'm saying. Because the ancient world didn't have the luxury of the internet. The ancient world wasn't living vicariously through everybody. The ancient world had both the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of their minds activated. The right hemisphere is for spatial awareness. This is science I'm giving you. So this is a mini little college class. The right hemisphere is for spatial and spiritual awareness. It's where your imagination exists. It's where you see everything else rather than what you're seeing now. The left hemisphere is what you've naturally been trained on, how to live in obedience, how to be a soldier. The left hemisphere is for language processing. The way you understand language is because the left hemisphere. The way you see the world is because the right hemisphere. And when you merge them together, there's something called the corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is a bridge holding both the left hemispheres and the right hemisphere together. Now, the corpus callosum, the role of the corpus callosum is to pass information from the left and the right hemisphere to each other. But how the government, through psyops, gets you is they limit the amount of information and the type of information. So, for example, you in your natural state will never say you enlighten people in 3 days. That is not the information they told you to say. But when you hear me say it as a human being and you see me as a human being, now somewhere in your subconscious, information has passed over your corpus callosum to the right side of your brain, the right hemisphere, and vice versa, that says, I too can enlighten people in 3 days. Whether you yourself believe it or not, the information has already been passed because you're seeing a human do it. So, the ancient world knew this. The ancient world understood imagination. If you listen to me, if you don't remember anything, hear this. If you lose your imagination, you will never be spiritual. It is that deep. You came unto this world with it. So why would you allow the man to take it away? Because of his rules. Nothing of your imagination is bad. For there isn't a single piece of anything that America has ever built that can ever compare to the pyramids in Egypt. In the pyramids in Egypt, they used their imagination. because they studied the hemispheres of the mind and the brain. So the hemispheres of the brain and the subconscious and conscious mind. So when I tell people, if you want to be truly spiritual, you're thinking of an ancient time. So when you hear me say, click the link in my bio, buy the ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity, A Message for the Mountaintop, take the 3-day course. When you hear me say that, you really want to be part of the back, get the book. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care. Because it's not about that. At the end of the day, if the ancient world heard that, the ancient world wouldn't care. As long as the ancient world knew they weren't going to die from the purchase, they're going to make sure they buy it. One, because they will have it forever. And you're telling me that if I do it, it will work. If I say yes, then the ancient world will do it. Why would the ancient world do that? The ancient world didn't have reviews. The ancient world didn't have internet. They only had experience. The ancient world moved out of a doing society, a doing system, an action-based system. That's how the ancient world worked. I will never truly know if what you're telling me is the truth if I myself don't do it and find out. That is how the ancient world operated. Nowadays, we like to live vicariously through so many people, and that is due to psyops. That is due to you not having imagination. That is due to governmental psyops. That is due to you not knowing what a true human being is. And cool, buy the ebook, of course. Click the link in bio. Buy the ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity, A Message from the Mountaintop. But even join the mystery school, right? Because there's a class. One of the few fully free classes of the mystery school. Of course, November 15th, Columbus, Ohio, Black Man's Hero. You can get the class rehearsals. That's all free. But if you go on the mystery school, it's currently housed on Patreon, subject to change. If you go on the mystery school, click link above, click the mystery school, join for free. A part of the collections, you'll see like sacred teachings. I think that's what it's called. You'll see a lot of them, grayed out because it's behind the paywall. But you'll see one that is completely free. It's like a 2-hour class. It's like a 1 or 2 hour class. And it's teaching you the magic technique of how to create a portal. The same magic technique that I did when I got targeted. They targeted me for that. I teach that completely for free. When you go do that, because that magic technique, the way I teach, it's not a linear. That's not how ancient world teaches. You got to extract the knowledge. When you watch that class, you extract the knowledge. You can apply the foundations of that technique to all these other techniques because they're all intertwined. So the overall point and conclusion, so I can go do my ceremony, because I live this way. When the cameras are on and off, you see her waiting for me. You see him waiting for me. If you truly would like to be in the miracle energy, the magic energy, the divine gifts, if you would like all of them, you have to walk the walk. You have to shift your mind to be in an action-based system. Never should you allow your mind to say, let me look what other people are saying before I try it first. Never should you ever look for testimonies. Always should you be the person to be your own testimony. But the beauty with our teachings is God, the source, works in win-win scenarios. I have the testimonies readily available, and I have the track record because I've been doing this for thousands of years. And then in this lifetime, got hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of community service videos. You can just go look for yourself. So, click the link in the bio. Yes, you're right. That shift from action-based to having to know first is actually crazy. Exactly. That, I promise you, if all humans shifted that and went back to that, I promise you, anyone that gets that our ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity, A Message from the Mountaintop, Chapter 1, Page 3, that 3-day course, that take it, oh my God, you're going to be another one of the testimonies. Yo, miracles are happening out of nowhere. That's a legit quote. That is exactly where doubt comes from. I didn't even piece that together. That's why I love you, Juan. That's where doubt comes from. We found it. We didn't crack the code. We cracked the code. Doubt comes from you being afraid to walk the walk. That's how we go in today's class. All right. Peace. Love you.